ecological, economic, political, and cultural sustainability. These domains of social sustainability are all dependent upon the relationship between society and nature. The social goals, whatever is listed below, they are referring to the particular individual well-being. And then we also know the environmental issues relate to the future of the same society, maybe the subsequent generations. And the third pillar is economics. Economics is relating to production and consumption, or supply and demand. In both these, people are involved or society is involved. Without society, no one can produce and no one can consume. So these three are interrelated. In fact, Professor Amartya Sen, the Nobel laureate, clearly says that all these goals are social in nature, although for a variety of reasons these have been divided into three broad areas so that more focus could be there on these goals. In fact, one definition which usually they give about democracy, of the people, by the people and for the people, very much fits in the social goals as well. All these goals are of the people, by the people, and it is meant for the well-being of the entire society. It is true that government of each country has the primary responsibility to continue with the steps already taken to realize these goals. But there are other important stakeholders in this endeavor, namely the people of the country, the NGOs, the academics, the business enterprises, and the researchers who are crucial for the successful achievement of the targets. The government has to adopt the right policy approach which will provide the funds and act as a catalyst. The academics have to pitch in for innovation, training of human resources, and knowledge empowerment. The researcher has to come up with efficient and cost-effective processes and products which will enable the common man to lead a better environment-friendly life. The Government of India had taken these SDGs very seriously and has already taken several steps in right earnest. The Niti Aayog has analyzed each one of these SDGs individually and identified the nodal ministry or department of the Government of India which is to own up the target and take steps to achieve the target. The ongoing initiative of the government in the line of the SDG goals have been identified and the coordinator for each activity has been designated. The details of centrally sponsored schemes which have been formulated and already in various stages of implementation have been shared by the Niti Aayog and placed in the public domain in the document titled Sustainable Development Goals, Targets, Centrally Sponsored Schemes, Interventions, Nodal and Other Ministries. This has been published as early as June 2016. Now it is true that all these 7 goals of the social cannot be discussed in a forum of just an hour and a half. So we have domain experts who will discuss some of them, but we will briefly go through the various others which may not be discussed in detail. Poverty. There are several definitions of poverty. Income-based poverty, I think Mr. Ramadore mentioned about this. Then consumption-based poverty, absolute poverty, relative poverty, rural poverty, and urban poverty, and so on. India's current official poverty rates are based on Planning Commission. I am not using the term Niti Aayog because this was determined by the erstwhile Planning Commission, which defines poverty in terms of consumption or spending per individual over a certain period for a basket of essential goods. The official poverty threshold is Rs 26 per day for rural areas and Rs 32 per day for urban areas. These numbers are lower than the World Bank's income-based definition of Rs $1.25 a day. As per this approach, India had 179.6 million people below poverty line as against the global total of 872.3 million people below poverty. Poverty is a giant barrier which should be overcome for rapid development of the nation. The next one is hunger. Hunger is very difficult to define. People initially had the calorie consumption of food as the index, but now it has been come up with a global hunger index, which is worked on the basis of undernourished population, low body weight to height ratio in children under the age of 5, and the proportion of children dying before the age of 5 for any reason. It may be due to accident, it may be due to malnourishment, it may be due to hunger, it may be due to disease, but all of them are combined, and the weightage or average of all these three is given as the global hunger index. India ranks 55 among 75 emerging economies as per the 2014 figures in the global hunger index. The next one is healthcare. The third Sustainable Development Goal aims to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being at all ages. Here again, there is a complicated indicator called the Global Burden of Diseases, GBD as they call it. The factors that go into the GBD are incidence of malaria, under 5 mortality rate, safe hygiene practices, and deaths due to war. In fact, this is the only parameter, deaths due to war. India comes very high. It scores a point of 93 out of 100. Very few deaths due to war. We have been having a relatively peaceful atmosphere. The overall score of India, including the taking into account the global burden of diseases, is 42 out of 114 countries. SDG 4 ensures inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning. I will not go into the detail. We have Sister Ananda who will go into the with a great experience in education and gender parity. This one and the next one, SDG 5, will be dealt with in detail by her. SDG 5 mandates achieving gender equality and empowering women and girls. This is a much talked about topic and perhaps an area where a lot could be done in a shorter time frame. According to World Economic Forum report, India ranks 53 out of 58 nations in terms of gender equality. SDG 60, as we have seen, hunger, poverty, education, and gender equality, these are all interrelated, these are not isolated, and definitely when you have a society where there is hunger, where there is poverty, and there is no standard education and gender inequalities, you will definitely go into the area of crime. And crime would mean that you need law and order arrangement, and also even if you have to carry on business, particularly international trade, it looks for a stable framework and fair justice system in any country before they go in for trade agreement with that particular country. So what you need is a law and order arrangement, how it is organized, and more so, United Nations has said all these SDGs, the enabler for implementation of this is technology. And in technology, there is a special forum set up by the United Nations to see the implementation by the use of ICT, Internet and Communication, Information and Communication Technologies for implementing these goals. Now, once you have that, you cannot prevent anybody from using the technology for crime. So you need cybercrime prevention, anti-hacking, and such issues. And I think Mr. Bakshi would be the one who would be giving the details of that. Without peace and stability and good governance on the rule of law, sustainable development cannot take place. Now, the format for this forum discussion will be as follows. Each of these experts with their domain expertise will talk for about 20 minutes each, and then we will initiate some panel discussions initiated by the moderator, and subsequently there will be interactive discussions with the audience. For the audience interaction, please give your questions on the piece of paper which has already been included in your kit. Questions have already come. I will keep it for the interactive session. I think with this, the speakers have already been introduced. I call upon Sister Ananda to present her views.
Mr. Dasgupta, Mr. Bardhan, Mr. Iyer, all of you eminent alumni, and everybody present here. I feel that I am here almost a little bit under false pretext, because when they called me to say, will you come and talk, I think they sent me an email and said, will you come and talk on this subject? And I thought to myself, hello, sustainable development goals, business opportunities, nothing to do with me. But they said, no, we want you to talk on education. And even there, I would feel very uncomfortable to be called an expert. All I can say is that, okay, the last 25 years of my life I have spent here in this field, and I'd like to share some of those thoughts and experiences, the things we did right, the questions that are left in my mind, and so on. There's a line from the Upanishads, I think it is the Kathopanishad, which says, Sahana bhavatu, sahana bhunaktu, sahaviryam karvavahe. Let us live together, let us eat together, let us do deeds of valor together. And these lines sort of remind us that the physical realities and necessities of life and the intangibles are inextricably linked. This is particularly apposite for educators. Not loud enough? Too loud? What? Okay. These are particularly apposite for educators in our present scenario, both worldwide and in our own country. Education seems to have become the last bastion of quality, integrity, justice, compassion, values, all those things that have become so old-fashioned. But we still expect them of our educational institutions. Even when they're crumbling everywhere else, it is expected that the educational institution should enshrine these values, should live by these principles. The newspapers paint a very chilling picture of the present-day scenario in India and the challenges faced by the world of education today. It's a very heavy responsibility that we shoulder, especially when we think of all those for whom education is a longed-for but distant dream. The grant-and-aid system, whereby the government funds the education, certainly makes it possible to make education more broad-based, but it carries its own challenges. Overflowing classrooms, overworked teachers, admission policies dictated by the state, the government, and university influence, which are brought to bear on admissions as well as evaluation processes, and many more. How does one continue to impart quality education? Continue to ensure that education is more than just rote learning, is in fact empowerment. When you're faced with a class of 80, 90, 100, 120, 150, how do you impart any kind of individual attention to any student? And yet, so many of our teachers, in fact, do. For all those who are involved in this educational enterprise as a service, this is a challenge, especially since we are faced with a rapidly morphing world. We need to take a number of elements into consideration when we look at this. Firstly, a globalized and complex world demands an ongoing dialogue between the local and the global. While equipping our institutions and our students to hold their own in the global arena, we are also being challenged to hold our local contexts in our consciousness at the same time. The astounding speed of technological change requires us to strive to keep up so that once again our institutions, our students are in touch with the latest developments. Educational strategies, methodologies need to be updated all the time or we're outdated. While infrastructural upgrading is constantly required and funded how? I don't know. In order that the education we impart is in tune with the best that is available given our constraints. At the same time, we see a reverse globalization in a sense at work in the efforts made by universities and colleges in many parts of the world, including top-level institutions like Oxford and Harvard, to try and recruit students from across the globe to a much greater extent than in the past. You know, they constantly, can we come and talk to your students? We give a lecture. The lecture is 3/4 of the time fishing expedition. They're trying to, recruit candidates for their universities. International linkages for faculty and student exchanges are also being established. Again, to share research, to offer an international teaching learning experience, not just with other institutions in the first world, but also with countries like us, which are struggling in this movement from being developing to developed, and so on. Secondly, more and more education is big business. Privatization is becoming the order of the day. In fact, you were just talking about a possible Bombay School of Economics to compete with the Delhi School of Economics and London School of Economics. Corporate houses, politicians and others are all entering the field of education. In India, in the past, tertiary education, which is my area, was largely, if not wholly, funded by the government, either central or state, and hence fees, whether it's the traditional arts, science and commerce courses or the professional and technical ones, were comparatively low, affordable. More recently, while grants are still given, though often with severe cuts, to those institutions that are already within the aided system, the government is actually actively encouraging fee-paying, unaided courses and institutions. In Maharashtra, for instance, after 1998, no new institution or course at the tertiary level receives government grants. So, in the past, my college, being a women's college, used to focus on the biological sciences. Today we have a demand for physics, maths, but we can't extend our aided section to include these subjects at the BSc level because the government doesn't, after 98, no more grant, no more additional courses can be started. Corporate houses, business families and other private players have been permitted to set up universities in our state and elsewhere, and that's a great thing because it expands the boundaries of the potential and possibilities that are available. With enormous financial resources at their command, besides influence at the highest levels, some of these private universities, Symbiosis, Manipal, Dhirubhai Ambani University, O.P. Jindal University, to name just a few, offer the best of infrastructure and state-of-the-art learning and teaching facilities. But of course, the fees are very high in these private colleges and universities. Those with the means to pay high fees can access these institutions, can access the best of higher education facilities that are available, whether in India or abroad. Today, even for undergraduate studies, wealthy families are often sending their students, their children, to these fee-paying institutions, high fee-paying institutions, either in India or abroad. It begins to, beg the question that quality equals high fees. If I can't afford high fees, I have to put up with what I get. Is that what the bottom line is? It's a question. Again, it's a challenge for all of us who are involved in this business of trying to make education meaningful, productive, and relevant to today's needs. That last sentence that I just read out, raises the whole issue of equity. There are millions of people in our country longing to be able to access the world of higher education, perceiving this world of higher education as being the gateway to more opportunities for employment, a better life on the whole. And when I'm saying higher education, I'm taking it from 11th, 12th standard upwards, yes? Only an infinitesimal number of these will be able to afford the kind of education implied when we think of education as business. The question that arises in such a scenario is the relevance of what we have to offer. As a holy nun, once upon a time, the Catholic education system, operated largely by religious nuns and priests, was the best education system possible, and everybody was dying to send their children to convent institutions. But this no longer holds true, either in the sense of